Guys, so I wanted to show you the various ways that you can mark or trace fabric. I use a lot of knits and that can be difficult for tracing. So I want to show you the things that I've used, things I've tried, and how they might differ based on the type of fabric you're dealing with. I am going to show you a whole bunch of different things that I have used over time. And I have two different types of fabric that we're going to practice these on. So let's go from the left to the right. We have a tracing wheel here. We have heat erasable pens of different colors. A regular pencil, triangle Taylor's chalk. This is white. Regular sidewalk chalk. This is Saril transfer paper. Then we have clips, pins, and we have hand needles that we're going to use for tacking. Along with that, we have a fabric, a light, very light, stretchy knit, and we have a more stiff woven cotton. And for each of these, we'll attempt a notch, a line, and a dot. So with the woven fabric, let's start with the tracing wheel. For demonstration's sake, let's do it on the right side or the outside. If you do something like darts, you would indeed need to trace and sew on the outside or the right side. To get started, here is the tracing wheel. It has a serrated edge all the way around. It's kind of like a little pizza cutter. It's not very sharp. Not that I would advise you to put it on your tongue or anything like that. So let's just try here. These are the lines, the two sides of a triangle. I guess you call it a biangle. A line. And well, we can't really do a dot with the tracing wheel. So let's see what we have here. I really can't see where I made that line. Oh, here it is. It's faint. I did put some muscle into it. The line is here. Here's a little bit of the triangle, but this in general can't really stand up to this soft, fluid fabric. Let's give stiffer cotton woven a try and see if this is any better. So we've got the biangle here, notch, and the line. This, I think you can see it more. It stands out a bit better. I think I might need to get a little bit better about putting muscle into this. I do feel that a stiffer fabric might stand up a little bit better to this. I will admit I have not used the tracing wheel a ton. If people have had success with it, I want to know about it. All right, so that does it with the tracing wheel. The next thing to try out is going to be the heat erasable pens. So for this fabric here, I'm going to use red, and for this dark fabric, I'm going to use white. Let's see how this works. So usually with a pattern, you're not actually tracing through this or this. So I'm not sure how you would most successfully transfer a pattern without a different method. However, the dot is usually a puncture. So if you're using a pattern like a simplicity, one from the Big Four, you'll see that you actually puncture the dot, in which case this works quite well. Let's try that down here so you can see a little bit better. There we go. And just so you know what I mean when I say usually puncture the holes, this is a dart. So you have the lines that stay intact, but usually there's a puncture here. So the pen worked well here. Now we have a white one here. And as you can see, this shows up like some of the other things I've ordered or gotten that mark up. This is decent. I will say this is a little bit damp because I just pressed it and I sprayed it with water. But overall, you can see that the white is actually pretty visible. I think it would probably do a little bit better if I hadn't just pressed it and put water on it. But regardless, this comes with a couple of different colors as well as refills. I've been pleased with the pens so far. All right, pencil. As with the pen, you'd probably just use the pencil to puncture. So let's see how that shows up. We're really not going to use it here or here, because usually, again, we don't puncture the lines of a pattern. But as you can see, the pencil shows up quite well here. Wouldn't really show up well, I think, on the dark side, but using pencil here works just fine. I have used regular pencil, I've used colored pencil, and unless I'm working with some really, really fancy fine silk or something super expensive I'm really, really nervous about, I feel totally comfortable with either of those tools. Now here comes the Taylor's Chalk. Triangle Taylor's Chalk White. This is kind of fancy stuff. I felt very professional when I got this. It came wrapped in a very nice tissue paper. It is very gentle. As you can see, I've already broken it. It doesn't take much. It's very thin, and it comes sort of like a triangle shape. I like that it's pointy. It can offer you a more precise tool if you are, let's say, marking the hem of pants, hem of jeans or dark slacks. For this, let's color in the dot. You can see here it works pretty well. Sidewalk chalk. I always have some in my garage. This is a bit thicker because it's sidewalk chalk, so it doesn't make for the most precise marking, but it works out pretty well. And as I'm sure you know, there are many sizes of chalk at the store. So we've done the chalk. Now I want to show you Saril paper. So this is called Saril transfer paper. I was told to get the red stuff, which is what I ordered. So it comes with these large sheets of paper, and you're instructed to put it face down on the fabric or the material that you want to trace. I think we can do these at once. Let's start with the black fabric for a change. And what you do is you apply pressure onto the Serral paper, which then puts the red marking on the fabric. So for that, you can use tracing wheel, you can use a pencil, a ballpoint pen, whatever you need to use to apply pressure. So let's use the tracing wheel for the biangle and for the line. I'm just going to put some muscle into that. I feel like I'm maybe not that effective at using the tracing wheel yet. So anyways, and for this, I'll use the pencil. And we'll move over and I'll do the same thing for this knit. Here we go. We've got our notch. Putting some muscle into it again. And then for the pencil, I'm really putting some muscle into that. All right, guys, let's see how this turns out. Okay. So here I can see the notch quite well, the line and the dot. I think this is a bit dark, although I can see the dot. Oh, actually, I take that back. I see the notch, the line, and the dot. So I am very happy about the Serral paper. Now, this is quite a large piece. This comes with many pieces. So I just roll this up and put it back for next time. I would say if you have a local art store, small art store that you can patronize, I would definitely do that over ordering online through Amazon, but look around for it. So that's the Serral paper. Definitely one of my faves. Now, I wanted to show clips. So what I do with clips sometimes is that if there's a notch, sometimes I'll just simply put a clip there. I really couldn't make the clip work for the line or the dot, and I would do the same thing here. I would line this up and put the clip like so. Pins, pins. Can't do the notch, can't do the line, can do the hole. So a lot of the patterns will tell you that you can just stick a pin through it, and look, the pin head is right on the dot. I think the biggest drawback here is if you're using something silky and really slippery, it might not stay in place. Otherwise, it's not so darn bad. All right, and last, most certainly not least, this is just the last final of things that I will show today. Here's my little tomato where I put some of my hand stitch needles. I used to put all my needles in one big tomato, and then I'd be looking for a hand stitch needle, and I would get so frustrated that I could not find a hand stitch needle. So I have saved myself a lot of time and stress by just sticking them in a little tomato and pulling them out when I need to. All right, so got my thread pulled through my needle. I'm going to double this up so that I put this against white paper so that this is sort of doubled up. These are the two end pieces. I put the pieces together, wrap it around my finger, smush it around, and I have a knot. Tapping is a way of hand basting where you just put in usually just a couple straight stitches. I'm unscientific about it, so I just kind of go with the flow. Say, for example, I'm trying to figure out doing pleats. I might do something like this with a couple of different colors thread so I can tell my way around. This is not such a bad way to mark up something. So if you have a dart, for example, darts can be quite complex for beginners. They were hard for me, and I really haven't done darts much because I do so many knits and stretchy fabrics, but you could easily do a straight stitch for the top and bottom angles and then easily take the threads out later. You can also baste using your sewing machine, straight stitch, largest stitch. There's even a based stitch sometimes, and you can do that as well. So let's try it here. So we're just we're just gonna let's do it here. This is a very stiff fabric, but say I'm just trying to mark a little part. Just put my needle through the thread a few times, and I'm already starting to be able to see where I'm going to need to work, what I'm going to do, and how much of it. This is so much trial and error, and I have tried so many different things. I'm happy to share with you these different ways of marking and hear what works for you. Also, am I just really bad at using the tracing wheel? Are you a successful tracing wheel user? Let me know your secrets. Otherwise, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, looking at all of these different tracing and marking tools, and I will catch you soon. Have a great day.